Do you ever feel like your life is being written by someone else? Like your future is already decided and you don't have a choice? That was me. My name is Sarah, and I was supposed to get married at 18. That's what everyone expected. My parents, my neighbors, even my best friend said, "Sarah, you're a girl. Your job is to be a good wife, not to chase dreams." But I had a secret. I didn't want a wedding dress. I wanted a classroom. I wanted a chalkboard, books, and students. I wanted to become a teacher. But there was one problem. Every book, every exam, every opportunity needed English. And my English? It was terrible. I couldn't even say a full sentence. So what did I do? I made a decision that changed my life. I chose English. I chose myself. This is not just my story, it's your story too. If you feel trapped by other people's dreams, if you've ever been told you can't, then keep listening. Because English didn't just help me speak, it helped me escape. It helped me build the life I wanted. And it can help you too. Let me take you back to the beginning. I was born in a small village near Puebla, Mexico. If you asked someone from the city, they wouldn't even know our name. We had one main road, a few small shops, and a school with 3 classrooms. Most families worked in the fields or sold food at the market. My father worked in construction. He left early in the morning and came back with his hands covered in dust. My mother made tortillas and sold them in the village square. We didn't have much. Sometimes we didn't even have electricity for days. But we had love, and we had tradition. In our village, girls didn't talk about careers. They talked about husbands. A girl was expected to marry young, take care of the house, and raise children. That was the path. No questions, no discussion. When I was 13, my aunt said to me, "Sarah, you're growing fast. Soon a nice boy will come for you." I smiled, but inside I felt a storm. I didn't want a boy. I wanted a future. I wanted to be like my teacher, Miss Elena. She was the only woman in our village who had gone to college. She taught us under a tree when the classroom roof was broken. I remember her voice, strong and clear. "Education is freedom, even when no one believes in you." Miss Elena was my hero. When I watched her write on the chalkboard, it felt like magic. I imagined myself standing there one day, helping children learn to read, write, and dream. But I knew it wouldn't be easy. My parents loved me, but they didn't understand my dream. My father would say, "You can't eat dreams, mija. You need a good man who will take care of you." My mother would whisper, "We don't have money for school. What if you fail?" They weren't trying to hurt me. They were trying to protect me from disappointment. But their fear became my cage. In secret, I started reading any book I could find. One day, I opened an old textbook from Miss Elena's shelf. It was about teaching methods, but I couldn't understand most of it. The reason? It was in English. I stared at the pages, feeling completely lost. The letters danced like strangers. That night, I sat by the window with the book in my lap and whispered, "If I want to teach, I have to learn this language." It felt impossible, but something inside me woke up. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I knew I had to try. That night, a new dream began. Not just to teach, but to learn English and create a life that no one else could write for me. When I turned 15, my parents told me to stop going to school. "You've studied enough," my father said. "Now it's time to help your mother, and soon we'll find you a good man." I stood there frozen. My books were still in my hands. My school shoes were worn out, but I didn't care. I didn't want to stop. I didn't want a wedding. I wanted a blackboard and students. I tried to explain. "Papa, I want to become a teacher. I want to help children, Like Miss Elena helped me. He shook his head. That's a nice dream, Sarah, but dreams don't pay for food. We are poor. You are a girl. Your job is to make a good home. I ran to my room, closed the door, and cried for hours. My mother came and sat beside me. Sarah, we only want what's best for you, she whispered. We are afraid. The world is not kind to poor girls who dream too much. I looked at her and asked, but what if my dream is the only thing that keeps me alive? In school, I tried to stay strong. I was allowed to finish the school year, but everyone treated me differently. My friends stopped including me in their study groups. One girl even said, "Why do you still care? You're just going to get married." I didn't answer. I just opened my notebook and kept writing. One afternoon, Miss Elena gave us a surprise task. Write your biggest dream in one sentence, she said. Everyone laughed and wrote silly things. I want to be famous. I want a big car. I wrote one line. I want to be the best teacher in Mexico. Miss Elena called me after class. She held up my paper and smiled. Sarah, do you know what it takes to be the best teacher? I shook my head. She said, it takes fire, and I see fire in you. Then she became serious. But Sarah, if you want to teach at the best schools, if you want to help more children, you must speak English. Almost all training is in English. Will you learn it? I nodded without thinking. Yes, maestra, I will. But when I told my parents, they laughed. English? My father said. You can't even understand the radio news. Who will teach you? We don't have money for that. My mother added, Why do you want to suffer, Mija? Just live a simple life. That night, I sat with my head on the table, staring at a torn notebook. I wrote a sentence over and over. I will learn English. I didn't know where to start. I didn't have money for classes. But I had one thing nobody could take from me. I had a reason, a deep, burning reason. And when you have a strong reason, you will always find a way. My dream was not welcome in my house, but it was welcome in my heart. And that was enough to keep going. One night, I was helping my mother make tortillas when my cousin Elena came to visit. She had just returned from the city, and she had something new, a second-hand smartphone. I had never used one before. She smiled and said, Do you want to see something amazing? She opened YouTube and showed me a video titled, How to Learn English for Free. I didn't understand much, but I recognized a few words. Hello, thank you, I'm learning. It was like magic. I felt like I had found a secret door. After she left, I couldn't stop thinking about that video. The next day, I borrowed her phone and searched for more. I found videos with subtitles, short conversations, even channels for beginners. I watched in secret, in the dark, with the volume low. It felt like I was stealing a dream, but I didn't care. That small screen became my teacher, my classroom, my hope. At first, it was hard, very hard. I didn't understand most of what they said, but I kept watching. I noticed words repeating. I heard, What's your name? How are you? Nice to meet you. I wrote them down. Then I said them out loud, again and again. I didn't care if my pronunciation was bad. I just kept going. I created my own lessons. I called them Sarah's Secret School. I had 3 rules. 1. Speak every day, even if it's only to yourself. 2. Use English in real life, even if people laugh. 3. Never skip a day. I started talking to myself in English while washing dishes. This plate is clean. The water is cold. I am drying the spoon. I spoke in the mirror. My name is Sarah. I'm learning English. It felt silly at first, but soon, my mouth got used to the sounds. I didn't wait for perfect grammar. I just kept speaking. One day, I asked Elena, "Can you help me find an English app?" She smiled and downloaded one for me. It had pictures, basic conversations, and daily exercises. I started using it every night. 10 minutes, then 20, then an hour. I was addicted, but in a good way. My parents noticed I was always busy at night. My father asked, "Why are you always staring at that phone?" I said, "I'm learning." He didn't ask more. Maybe he thought I was wasting time, but I wasn't. Each new word felt like a step toward freedom. I started to understand simple videos. I watched cartoons in English. I repeated what the characters said. "Let's go." "I'm so happy." "It's a beautiful day." I wrote those phrases on paper and taped them to my wall. My bedroom became my English world. My mouth became my classroom. My heart became my teacher. I wasn't just learning a language. I was building a new life, word by word. One day, while watching an English video, I saw an ad for a language scholarship. It was for a small school in Mexico City, offering a free 6-month English course for low-income students. I clicked on it. The form was simple: name, age. Why do you want to learn English? I didn't think I had a chance, but I wrote from my heart. I want to become a teacher. English is the key. I will not waste this opportunity. 2 weeks later, I got an email. "Congratulations, Sarah. You have been accepted." I read it 3 times to be sure. My hands were shaking. I ran to show my parents, but instead of smiles, I saw worry. "You're going to the city? Alone?" my mother asked. "It's dangerous." My father looked angry. "Who will protect you? What will people say? You want to become a teacher and make us look like fools?" I stayed quiet. Then I said, "I don't want to look like anything. I just want a chance." That night, they called my uncle, my grandmother, even the village priest. Everyone said the same thing. "She's a good girl. Don't let her go." But I had already made my decision. I sat down with my parents and said, "You gave me life. Now let me live it. This may be my only chance to escape a life I didn't choose. Please let me go." My mother cried. My father didn't speak. But the next morning, they gave me a small envelope. Inside was 300 pesos and a photo of me as a baby. My mother kissed my forehead and said, "Be careful, and don't forget where you come from." I left with 1 backpack, 2 changes of clothes, and a notebook filled with English sentences. When I arrived in Mexico City, I couldn't believe my eyes. The buildings were tall. The streets were loud. The buses moved fast, and everyone seemed busy. I felt like a tiny leaf in a giant storm. The school was small, but full of students like me. Dreamers, fighters, people who didn't have money but had something more powerful: hope. My first class was a disaster. The teacher spoke only in English. "Good morning, class," she said. Everyone responded. I just froze. She asked, "What's your name?" I panicked. My tongue felt heavy. "Sarah," I whispered. She smiled and said, "Welcome, Sarah. You're safe here." But I didn't feel safe. I felt stupid. The other students seemed so confident. They made jokes. I didn't understand them. One boy laughed when I said, "I from village." That night, I cried in my tiny rented room. The walls were thin. I could hear cars and voices outside. I missed my family. I missed my village. I wanted to go home. But then I opened my notebook and read my own words. "I will learn English." I wiped my tears and said it out loud. "I will learn English." Then I said it again. That night, I didn't sleep much. But I made myself a promise. I would not leave this city until I could speak English without fear. no matter how long it took, no matter how hard it was. Week after week, I went to class. Every day started with greetings, small conversations, and simple lessons. But for me, even simple felt like climbing a mountain. The teacher would ask, "What did you do this weekend?" And my classmates would answer easily, "I went to the park." "I saw a movie." When it was my turn, I froze. My mouth opened, but no words came out. One day, the teacher gave us a surprise speaking test. "Tell us a short story about your life," she said. I stood up. My hands were shaking. My voice was soft. I live. I want. That was all I could say. The class was quiet. Then someone giggled. The teacher quickly said, "Thank you, Sarah." And I sat down, my face burning with shame. After class, I ran to the bathroom and locked the door. I stared at myself in the mirror. My eyes were full of tears. I whispered, "Why are you so stupid? Why can't you speak?" I hated my voice. I hated my fear. I wanted to disappear. I stayed in that bathroom for 20 minutes. Then I looked up and asked myself one question. "Sarah, do you want to go home and give up, or do you want to fight?" I took a deep breath and answered out loud, "I want to fight." That night, I changed everything. I made a new rule. I would talk to myself for 30 minutes every day, no matter what. I put in my earphones, walked around the city, and pretended I was on a phone call. I said things like, "I'm walking past the bakery. I smell fresh bread. I am hungry." People looked at me, but I didn't care. This was my English class. I also started recording myself on my phone. I picked a topic each day. My family, my dream, my village. I spoke for 1 minute, listened, corrected, and spoke again. I hated my voice at first. It was slow, full of mistakes, but slowly I began to sound better. Then I created my English wall. I bought sticky notes and wrote down useful phrases. "Can you repeat that?" "I don't understand." "One moment, please." I stuck them all over my room, on the mirror, the door, the lamp. Everywhere I looked, I saw English. I used cartoons to practice listening. They spoke slowly and clearly. I watched the same episode 5 times, first with Spanish subtitles, then with English subtitles, then no subtitles at all. I repeated lines like a parrot. "Let's go." "I don't believe it." "You can do it." After 2 weeks, something changed. In class, the teacher said, "Let's practice in pairs." I turned to the girl next to me. Before she could speak, I said, "Hi, my name is Sarah. I'm from Puebla. What's your name?" She smiled. "Nice to meet you, Sarah. I'm Anna." We talked for 5 minutes. I didn't understand every word, but I didn't freeze. I didn't panic. I was speaking. And for the first time, I felt proud. That evening, I wrote in my notebook, "Today, I won a small war." I knew I still had a long way to go, but now I had momentum. I had fire. I had my first real breakthrough. And I wasn't going to stop. 2 months into the course, something unexpected happened. Our teacher walked into class and said, "We're starting a peer tutoring program. If your English is strong enough, you can help beginners in the evening class." I looked around. Students were excited, confident. I stayed quiet. I didn't think I was good enough. But after class, the teacher called me aside. "Sarah," she said, "I've seen your progress. You've improved so much. Would you like to try tutoring?" I was shocked. "Me? Are you sure?" She smiled. "Yes, I am." That evening, I stood at the back of the beginner classroom. A shy girl named Marisol was sitting alone, looking confused. The teacher asked me to help her with basic questions. I sat next to her and said, "Hi, I'm Sarah. I also started just like you. Don't worry. Let's practice together." Marisol looked at me and whispered, "My English is bad." I smiled and replied, "Mine was too. Let's learn together." We practiced greetings. "Hello, how are you?" "I'm fine, thank you." I showed her my notebook tricks. I told her about the sticky notes and mirror talk. She started laughing when I said, "I even talked to myself in the street." We practiced for 20 minutes, and by the end, she was smiling. Later that night, the teacher thanked me. "You made a difference, Sarah. You helped her feel confident." I walked home in silence, but inside, I was flying. That night, I looked at my reflection and said, "You're becoming a teacher." It wasn't a big classroom. It wasn't a full-time job. But for me, it was everything. For the first time, I wasn't just learning English. I was using it to help someone else. I wasn't the scared village girl anymore. I was Sarah, the tutor. Sarah, the speaker. Sarah, the teacher in training. That night, I slept like a child. A happy child with a big dream that was finally starting to come true. 6 months later, I stood in front of a large whiteboard, holding a marker in one hand and my notebook in the other. I wasn't a student anymore. I was the teacher. Not in a big school, not in a fancy building, but in a small classroom on the edge of town, with 10 children sitting on plastic chairs and looking at me with bright, curious eyes. How did I get here? After finishing my English course, I applied to a volunteer teaching program for rural areas. It wasn't paid, but it offered real experience, and I didn't care about money. I cared about impact. The day I got accepted, I cried again. But this time, they were tears of joy. I called my parents. My mother said softly, "We didn't understand your dream, Misha, but now we see it." My father said just 4 words. "I'm proud of you." The village I was sent to reminded me of my own. The roads were dusty, the houses were simple, and the school had no roof in one classroom. But the children were full of energy, and the first time they called me Miss Sarah, my heart nearly exploded. I taught them the alphabet, numbers, songs, and simple English phrases. "My name is..." "How are you?" "I like apples." Every day they got better, and every day so did I. One afternoon, after class, a little girl named Camilla stayed behind. She held my hand and said, "Miss Sarah, I want to be a teacher like you." I smiled and bent down. "You can be anything, Camilla. Just don't stop dreaming." That evening, I sat under a tree with my notebook in my lap. I flipped back to the first page. The words I had written months ago were still there. I will learn English. Below that, I added a new sentence. And I will help others learn too. Becoming a teacher didn't mean I was done learning. I was still growing, still making mistakes, still practicing. But now, I had stepped into the life I had always dreamed about. I had broken the walls that held me back, and I had built a door for myself and for others. English didn't just help me speak. It gave me a voice. It didn't just open a door. It opened a world. And every time I step into that classroom, I remember where I came from, how far I've come, and why I'll never stop teaching. Because once, someone believed in me. Now it's my turn to believe in them. If you've watched my story until now, thank you. I didn't tell it just to share my journey. I told it because maybe, deep inside you, there's a dream too. Maybe you also feel stuck in a life you didn't choose. Maybe people tell you you're not smart enough, not rich enough, not good enough. But let me tell you something, they are wrong. I was a poor girl from a small village. I had no money, no support, no English. But I had a reason, And that reason became my power. You don't need perfect English to start. You just need one sentence, one word, one decision. Say this: I will learn English. I will change my life. I will not give up. English is not just a language. It's a key that opens doors people said were locked forever. It helps you travel, study, work, grow, and believe. It helped me become a teacher. It helped me escape a life I didn't want. And it can help you too. Start today. Speak in front of a mirror. Watch one English video every day. Write 3 simple sentences every morning. You don't need to do everything. Just do something every day. And remember this: you are not too late. You are not too old. You are not too broken. You are just one step away from a new chapter. Thank you for listening to my story here on English Starline. If it touched your heart, please subscribe, share it with a friend, and keep learning. Your future is waiting. Don't let it wait too long. You only get one life. Don't waste it. Thanks for watching English Starline. Subscribe now to keep learning English through the amazing stories of famous lives.